Okay, we are back. So sorry, I had to change the network. I'm really very sorry. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming back up. I'm so sorry. We had to change my network. Okay, like I said, we'll be talking about sex, masturbation, and pornography addiction today. And who else, what better person to talk about it if not somebody who has experienced it and has come out of it and is whole right now. So without much ado, I'm going to be bringing up, I'm going to bring up my pastor first. Yeah. Good evening, sir.
How are you doing? Oh,
Very fine, thank you, sir. Very fine, thank you, sir. Good evening, sir.
good
Happy
evening.
anniversary
Oh,
again. Happy
yeah.
anniversary.
Thank you, thank you, thank you,
Welcome, sir.
thank you, Jared. Today's topic is serious.
Ah, it's very hot. It's been causing a lot of comments because I put it on my personal phone status, and then people have been sending messages that what do you want to talk about? What do you know about this? So someone actually met me in church today and said he used to be an addict, right? And
Wow,
so yes, he no longer is, but he's itching to know what this other person did that is different, right? So
wow.
we're here for it. We're here for it today. Papa, they're
Okay.
greeting you happy anniversary.
Hey, thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Well
I'm
done.
managing my voice.
Because you love us, that's why you're here. If not, you're supposed to be resting.
Yeah,
You're supposed to be basking in the anniversary spirit. It's
I'm
the
telling
whole
you.
month. It's the whole month.
I'm telling you.
So somebody is asking, the topic is sex, masturbation, and porn addiction. That's what the topic is. And
Yes,
um,
yes, yes.
so I got talking to our guest, and he shared a bit of his story, saying that he was an addict for 13 years, and so he had seen the all the sides there could ever be to pornography and masturbation addiction, right? But as it is right now, he's whole, he's married, and he has 2 kids. So
Mm.
in conversation with him, funny enough, he still had, he was trying to explain in and out all the little things he still had to start building even after he had, you know,
Please pin the
survived.
topic. Divine Celeste wrote the topic. Can you pin it so that people that are coming new can know what we are discussing? If you scroll, you see Divine Celeste.
Da, 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 da.
Let's
I
go
can't
back
see.
down. Okay, they will type it again now. Divine Celeste, type it again. Or
Okay,
somebody should
please.
type it so that you pin it. So go ahead. Don't forget what were you saying before.
No, I was saying that in the little time I spent talking with him, right, he was also sharing a bit of the challenges he had faced with his wife now in marriage, and how he had to overcome them, and he just kept saying it's a no. Anybody that is in it
Mm.
should not even be thinking about it, should be thinking of how to come out of it. I mean, it's not God's design, it's not God's plan, it's not what God,
Yeah.
planned for us. So, yeah, I'm
Okay,
excited about
before we definitely, I know it will be a sweet session. I know that definitely. Before you bring him on, please, if you're in Canada or you have anybody in Canada, we are already planning the Canada conference. They've written the topic opinion for the minute now. Um, we're already planning the Canada conference, so we need volunteers in any major city in Canada. So please go to the link in my bio and register if you are resident in Canada. Last time when we were looking for volunteer for UK, people in Keja were volunteering. That's not what we're looking for. And then when I asked me for visa and tickets,
And people want to Japan now. People want to Japan. Want to leave the country.
So, but if you are in any city in Canada or even in America, somebody has already said they want to come from America. So, if you're in any city in Canada or America, you can come. Please go and volunteer, register to volunteer immediately. Evangelist Pepe, I see you. If you want to volunteer, please go volunteer. The London people, Ngozi, go and volunteer. Go and fill the volunteer form so that they can put you in groups so you can start planning. The UK volunteers were awesome. Please, if you are any of the UK volunteers and you're watching, please, I want to appreciate you. UK volunteers were awesome. As in, I've never met more than 95%, or up to 95%. How will I say it? As in, 95% of them were people I had never met, anywhere before. I did an amazing job. As in, I didn't even know how everything was done. I just showed up to preach, and it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. So UK, I love you. London, you have a special place in my heart from now. Anytime you guys call me, I'll just show up. I'll just show up. You guys show massive love in London. So Canada, please top whatever London has done so that I will also fall in love with Canada. Anybody in Canada, if you have friends and family in Canada, let them know so that they can start filling the volunteer forms and, start joining the group so that we can start the planning. All right.
Okay. Glory of the latter house. So Canada, the yam is in your hand, the knife is in your hand. It's time for you to cut as you want. All right, sir. I'm going to be bringing up Mr. Elisha Kolade. The story is bitter in his mouth. I can't tell his story for him.
People are asking me which city in Canada. Any city. Go and fill the form. Write what city you are in, and we'll take it from there. So no matter the city you are in. Hey, Elisha.
That's okay. Pastor. How you doing, sir?
Very fine. Oh, long time.
Sir. You forgotten about us. So what can I say? You forgot about us. The last time
I've just been
2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago.
Yes. I've just been up and about. That's why I had to send them to talk to you, because if I left it to myself, my schedule would just not permit. And I said, I have to do something with this man. We've discussed it years ago. You guys should make it happen. Ask them. I was harassing them.
I don't believe
they were always they were having meeting. I said, fix this thing. Let's do it. They said they're having meeting. That you are sending letter. That you are. I said this.
How you doing, sir?
Very fine.
How's the ministry? I saw your picture in London. I said, man, wow, man. The only place I see you now is actually in London, not in Nigeria anymore.
Why did you come now?
I didn't know. I just saw the picture on Instagram. I said, oh wow. I didn't even know. I didn't see anything.
Wow.
To be honest.
Wow.
And I follow you, so I didn't see anything.
I posted. What city are you in the UK? Where do you stay in the UK?
I stay in London. I stay in Kent.
Your people were there well now. Kent people were there well.
But it's, there's the different kind of Kent. I don't know which side of Kent of people that comes. I don't want to say anything. There's different kind of Kent, Pastor.
But is Kent that big?
Sir, there's what you call the Royal Kent, where the Queen stays. So the ones that come to you, I don't know where they are.
Wow.
How you doing, sir? How you doing?
Very well, very, very well. I'm happy. It's good to finally be doing something with you. I know that you have a lot of experience and knowledge to share.
Yes.
And I also hope that even apart from this live, we'll be able to do a proper coaching or training that will be off Instagram, it will be on Zoom or something. That will be a masterclass kind of thing. that can run through a couple of whether days or weeks, depending on what you recommend, where people can really be helped methodologically and specifically. So I look forward to that. That's what I actually want to do, but they said that will require some planning and all that to do. So, but that we should still do the IG live now. So
Yes,
that's why we're looking forward to it. This is just appetizer I want to do today.
Thank you.
Hi, Vera.
Hi, Elisha. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And she's been on my tail. I'm thinking of my.
I've been disturbing them. I've been fighting them.
We're still to finally. I mean, but I think like say, Pastor, the first time I spoke to you was when we met on the platform NHN, and I think you're right. It's always the perfect timing. I think maybe that time wasn't ready, but now I think things are planning itself towards that point.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm glad. So, sexologist Vera, do you want to take the lead?
Okay. Hi, Elisha. Good evening. Welcome to Wholesome Sexuality Sunday Live. Like I tell people on our lives, on our page, what we stand for is sex the God way. We are here to preach the gospel of sex. There no holdbacks, no mincing words. If God did not say it, we are not saying it. If it's not the way God intended it, we are not preaching it. So that's what we're here for. And my people know that. I tell them, if you're coming here, you know that you will hear the word of God. I'm not apologizing about it, right? If he created it, our own is to help him and spread it here. That's what we're doing here. So having had a conversation with you, I know you mentioned that you were addicted for 13 years. And when I posted it, somebody asked me, because I said, and some other, and the sisters and brothers of masturbation. And somebody was asking me, which other? I said, when you come for the life, you hear it's sweeter in the mouth of the person who experienced it. So I would like you to share with us a bit of your story, because generally here is a mixed multitude. Some people here are presently going through one addiction or the other, or one sexual addiction or the other, so that we are specific. Wow.
Nigeria.
Can you still hear me?
And we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Let me put on some sort of lights.
But it's fine. I think what you're looking for.
We can hear you.
Okay. So I told them it's better they hear from the horse's mouth. Like, it's better they hear directly from you. So basically, we really want you to share your story. Let us know what exactly is. Some people don't even know what is pornography, what is masturbation. And some people don't even know that you cannot be addicted to sex. Some people don't even know. So I would like you to actually share with us in a broad, no holdbacks, what exactly is your story, and then along the line we'll be asking questions and we'll flow from there. All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Pastor K. Thank you, Vera, for having me on this platform. I think it's always, to me, I always try to wear different hats. When I'm on the Christian platform, I think I am more open. When I'm on the marketplace platform, I try to be more moderate, because there are things that you can share within the Christian environment so they understand. And within the other platforms, so you don't want to be too open, because you don't understand whether they are people of faith or they're not faith. But tonight, I believe we'll be able to share things, and I'll be able to help those that needed help as well. So my name is Elisha. Thank you for having me. So my journey started at the age of 12. I grew up in a family of 4. I grew up in Nigeria. I'm Yoruba. My dad was a lecturer. Mom was mom was a very successful woman, very, very successful. But as a family of 4, I think as the first child, there was so much. I won't say there was so much demand, but there was so much expectation from myself. maybe my parents were thinking they were helping, but I think looking at it now is more of kind of a very toxic environment as a first child, because I grew up hearing words kind of like, you're not going to amount to anything, you're not as good as your brother. No matter what I do, there's always this comparison, there's always this expectation that you need to do more. So in the midst of all those, as a young child, I didn't know what I was going through, but I was always looking for a way of escape, where I could just go to, where my mind and my ears could be blocked away from those constant nagging as a young child. And one thing led to another. And the very first time I came across porn was in a family friend's home at the age of 12. And I remember it like yesterday. This is summer afternoon. And he said to me, look, let me show you something you've never seen before. I'm thinking, come on, man, what was it that you want to show me I haven't seen before? And voila, in front of me, as a young child, 12 years old, I'm looking at the porn for the very first time. I'm asking myself, wow, so the pennies, the private part I'm holding, is that what it's used for? You could see different questions that was going on in my mind as a 12 years old. But I couldn't discuss with my mom, because my mom is late now. Because I remember clearly then, the only thing myself and my mom, the only thing she always tell me is never impregnate a girl. That is the only sex education I got from my mom. Never impregnate a girl. If I'm going out of the door, make sure you don't impregnate a girl. If you impregnate a girl, you will look after the baby. I'm thinking, what in the world is he talking about? So you could see my foundation of sex and my relationship with my parents were so frank, were so distorted. Now, at that particular point, very first time coming across porn, it was very exciting, very, very interesting, something that is very new to me. But unfortunately for me, all my friends in school were now sharing Playboy magazine. We always I would steal from my parents, buy Playboy magazine, take VHS, take it to school, because that's what we're doing on the playground. We're always sharing the Playboy magazine, sharing DVD. Now, things began to change gradually. I'm just taking you on the journey here. Then my mom, she was a baker, she was a chef. She wakes up early in the morning, like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. But what my parents never knew was that when she's waking up is when I was going to bed. Because then I would spend the entire night time going through Playboy magazine. Because the night time was the only time, because I was sharing my bedroom with my younger one. So I always wake up in the night time. And then I was about 13, 14. You can see, I would wake up in the night going through this magazine. So for me, it was fun. It was only fun. Now, I'm going to be touching on some key milestones in my life. So at the age of 15, I lost my mom. Now, I remember clearly my friend said to me, Elisha, we've been watching porn. We've been teaching ourselves how to masturbate. I think we need to start having sex now with girls. I'm like, I don't know how to speak to girls. So for the very first time, my friend also introduced me to prostitute. So the very first sex I had was with a prostitute. So you can see now the foundation that I'm even having is already distorted. So losing my mom, I just went straight back then in Nigeria, sleeping with prostitute. I will have money in me, whether I'm in Ilorin, whether I'm in Lagos, anywhere I am, or whether I'm in Kogi State back in the days, wherever I am, I'm always looking for the location where the prostitutes are. I wasn't even in England then. I wasn't even in London, back in Nigeria. So my life was buy pornography, watch it, and go and sleep with a prostitute. So then I was thinking I was having fun. And this is I'm going to be coming in and out. This is the danger people have. Because I always say that every individual that come across this content, the very first time is curiosity or exposure, which is fine. The next stage is that people think, it's fun. It's fun. It's something that is novel. It's something that is new. Let's just get to go out along with it. And that was what I was experiencing. Now, fast forward, when I came into England, I never knew that the land of England was the land of sex. Because now what I used to look for is now in front of me. Now I'm free, there's no parents, there's no uncle. I'm just alone, wild, wild west. And I didn't know how I did it, but I came across Soho. So in England, Soho Square is what I call the home of sex. It's where you have the transgender, everything you can want in that street in London. It's not a big street, but that was where I began to spend my time, my money. Now look at what I'm saying there. I was still having fun. To me, I didn't see any issues going on in my life. But as soon as I got into university, I knew something was changing. Now, the very first thing I noticed was the taste of the content I was consuming was now changing. Meaning, before I started with simple content, maybe by the time I watch a pornography in 5 minutes, I will have erection and I'll masturbate. But as time began to go by, 1 year turning to 2 years, 2 years turning to 5 years, I realized that it was not taking me longer period to have erection. Not only that, it was not taking me longer time to get something, a content that would stimulate me. So you now see the correlation. Not only was it taking longer time for me to get erection, but it was not taking me longer time to get the content that would give me the stimulation. That is why you see many people will tell you it's affecting my productivity, it's taking over my time, because they're looking for that new material that will stimulate their mind. So back in the college, I began to understand that something was wrong. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't focus. My mind was constantly thinking about sex. I could be in the lecture room and I'll just have the urge. And I'll just go into the toilet. I'll masturbate. I'll come back to the lecture room. That was my lifestyle. But then I knew something wasn't right, because now it's taking over my time. It was now taking over my time. Before I could control it, now it's now taking over my time. Things get so bad that, because back then in England, you can get a loan for your university. I would take literally 70 to 80% of my student loan is either to sleep with a prostitute or to pay for pornography, download on the internet. I would say to myself, you know what, Elisha, this is the last time I'm ever going to watch porn, or I'm ever going to sleep with a prostitute. But as soon as I say that same word, will find me back on the street looking for a prostitute. So now the habit is now taking over my entirety. The worst part was when I began to notice that the more I masturbate, the more it was not difficult to have ejaculation, because the challenge people don't understand is that the urge will be so much, even though when you are tired, the urge can be so overwhelming. You can sometimes I will lock myself up for 4 hours, 5 hours, watching porn masturbate. You get to a point, you are masturbating, but there's no ejaculation. Those are the extreme cases. But I didn't just arrive there. It was a journey. Now, two big milestones happened in my life. The first one was when I started thinking of watching gay porn. That means same-sex porn. So I was in Soho this particular evening, and I was saying to myself, there's no other materials to watch, because they know me in the store. I'm always there buying different materials. My mind now said, you know what, now that you've watched everything, why don't you look at that content? Something in me, I grew up in a Christian home. Something in me said, no, I can't do this. I can't, there's just something in me. I said, man, I started with a woman. But what people don't understand is that the more you watch this content, you are exposing your mind, your spirit man to different activity. You have group sex, you have different. Well, that's what people don't understand. That's what people tell you that, I started with heterosexual. Now I'm attracted to a woman, is attracted to a woman, or a guy is attracted to a guy, because of the exposure to the content. You see somebody will tell you that, I started watching young kids porn. It's not that they want to, it's just that over time, the taste is now changed to the point that the taste now going for something they themselves are not even comfortable with. But they need it in order to have stimulation, in order to have erection. So it's not that they actually want to watch the content. It's just, I remember back then, my brother is late now. The guy would tell me, say, Elisha, some of the content you're watching, I feel like vomiting. Is that disgusting? Even some of the content, I will look at the content, I will ask myself, how can a normal human being be watching all this bondage, all these tying people, beating people? But in the place of shame, I will still go back there next week, because same day, because I just need something that will just give me that urge. So there was this particular day. Like I said, I was in Soho Square, and I said to myself, I can't do this. I said, I'd rather kill myself rather than watch gay porn. Because, man, come on, man, I love women. Come on, I started with the women. I love women's shit. Why would I be? Now, I'll be walking on the street. I'll be having this thought. Do you see that guy? Oh, that guy looks nice. I'll be saying, no, I don't. It's like a battle. It's like I'm fighting a battle. Like, why would I want to look at that guy? No, I don't want to. I'm not interested in the guy. You'll be hearing talk. Is that the guy not handsome? Why? Because I watch so much group sex that your mind is not playing at you. I said to myself, I would rather kill myself than go to this extreme. Now, one summer afternoon, I think it was before Easter period, I was at home bored. I was always bored watching porn. And this porn was so real to me. And I called because then I used to have different prostitutes. I pick up my phone. I said, look, I'm coming. Clear your calendar. I'm going to have the best sex today. There's something I've learned. And that's what happened. The more you feed on this content, the more you want to try out what you're doing. I called her. But on my way to see her, and I stopped at the sex shop, I went to the guy at the counter. I said, look, can you give me a drug that will help me to last longer? So the guy just pointed out. I don't know what he pointed to. Up to today, I don't know what I took. I picked up the drug, I took the drug. As soon as I took the drug, I knew something was not right. My mind was just, I said, what's wrong with me? I started feeling dizzy. I climbed the stairs up to this lady. She was at the top floor. I knocked the door. She said, are you okay? I said, I'm okay. But I wasn't okay. I knew something was wrong. So she just ushered me to the bed. We had sex. He said, are you okay? Then I couldn't stand up. That's how bad things were. She said, okay, look, there are people waiting for me. And she literally nudged me downstairs. I was climbing the stairs. I was holding the ring. I knew something was wrong. I was walking through the high street, and I stopped at a particular pub, and I held the pole. And the last thing I knew was that I was in the hospital. Bam! I was on the floor. Collapse. I didn't know. I just remember I opened up my eyes, and there were doctors around me. And they were saying, oh, why do you want to commit suicide? Oh, should we call your parent? And I'm looking at them thinking, what are you talking about? What do you mean I want to commit suicide? But then I could see drip. I could look at my hand. Everything was green. It was like my entire hand was transformed. I'm thinking, what is going on? Because I was trying to add one to one. I knew I took a drug. Why are they talking about me killing myself? What is that? But I don't know what happened. But they were saying to me that they needed to flush out my system because it's like a poison. And I'm thinking, poison? They were now giving me counseling, but I couldn't just understand. So they were going to discharge me. They said, oh, do you have any parents here? I said, no. Of course, I'm not going to call my dad and tell my dad that this will happen to the son that he sent to England. So I got home. For that entire 24, 48 hours, I was urinating green because they said to me it's going to take time for my system to be cleansed. But guess what? The next day, I was still back on the soul. I was still back on the street of Soho. That was how much the addiction has now taken over. Now,
after a near-death experience,
I was still back on that street looking for sex. Now, there's this thing that everybody needs to understand. So one day I was speaking to my GP because now when I masturbate, I will have bruises around my private parts. Now at night, I'll be looking for area of my private part I need to touch, but it will be painful because of the bruise. So I'll go and see the GP. Say, well, Elisha, do we need to do test? But I knew what I was doing. He said, oh, is there anything? Are you drinking too much of sugar? I knew it was because the private part of a man the skin is very, very sensitive. And when you have this constant masturbation, you will start the entire surrounding bruises, cuts. Night and night, I'll be crying. I'll be crying because of pain, but I can't stop masturbating. That's how bad. So, so every 31st, I always hang out with my friends in London. We always look for the best club because I'm always in the club. So there was this night, when you've reached the crossroad. I think there was an afternoon I sat down. I grew up in a Christian home. I was saying, Lord, I just said, Father, I think it's time to come home. I don't know what home I'm talking about, but I just felt like maybe it's become a better Christian or something like that. So this 31st, my friends were calling me, are you coming out? I said, no. I stood, because then I used to live in in England, we call it council estate, which is a government housing estate at the top high-rise building. I was looking out there, everybody was having fun, Happy New Year. But I said to myself, no, something is to do. Something, I can't go on like this. I was always battling the thought of killing myself. Do you know, somebody invited me to church. Somebody invited me to church. I didn't know how the guy, because back then, my parents say, are you going to church? I look at them, going to church. Sunday for me was chill out day. chill out. I'm just chilling out watching football. I don't do anything on Sundays. So I started going to church. But I would go to church. I'll be thinking, man, what are these people doing? But back, I'll go home, watch porn, masturbate. But one day I said to myself, enough is enough. I need to change. I'll never forget, I gave my life to God on the people. I said to people that when you give your life to God, you don't know the date, you don't know the time. I don't know whether you're sure. Mine was a Wednesday service. Wednesday, I knew the pastor. I don't know what he was teaching, but I knew it was Wednesday service. He called it. Then I used to have braids, earrings. You know, I used to dress like a gangster. I was sitting in the church, and the guy, pastor called out a call, and I heard it clearly. Today, you need to give your life to me. And I heard another word. Come on, man, they'll be laughing at you. Come and look at your hair, look at you. But I stood up. I went forward. That same night, my younger brother is late now. He looked at me. He said, man, something's wrong with you. There's something shining on your face. And I kept doing this. What do you mean something shining on my face? Next day, the neighbor said, now I knew what they meant. He said, your face is shining. Why is your face glittering? I'm thinking, what do you mean? It's so bad because I'm thinking, I'm not spending the day on there, so I don't know why but then it was the new birth. But I was just, because I'll still go to church, come home, watch porn. But now the conviction is now there. I'll be sitting in church, it's like I didn't know I was talking to this person. Boy, it's not good to watch porn. My God, come on, man. Come on, I'm not harming anyone. Because then I was not negotiating. I said, now I have 6 girlfriends. If I go to one, it should be okay. No more prostitute. You know, I was not negotiating. But it was more of God trying to just take me through my current position and walk with me as a little child. And I said to people, God is very numerous. Some people, he gives them miracle. Some, he takes them on the journey like the Israelites. I think he took me on the journey for a purpose. For now, that I could help others. I will come home. This Sunday, I said to myself, I wasn't going to watch porn. And I came home and I watched porn. And I began to cry. I was crying for the first time because now the conviction was now real. Before, I never knew what conviction was. Because when I watch porn, I don't feel anything. But now the conviction was now there. I said, man, wow. I said, okay. I said, Lord, if this is really real, you need to help me. I attended the Bible study. I think God was orchestrating my parts. You know, I attended the Bible study. And I remember the 3 weeks, 4 weeks Bible study was actually the first breakthrough. I never knew then because it was like I was flushing the entire system out. Because what people don't understand, and I tell people, that's the biggest mistake people make. You see, they have something they've been doing for 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12 years. They will not come to you, they want 21 days, 90 days quick fix. When the 90 days or 30 days you promise them is not showing up, they tell you you are not doing enough. But they have actually programmed their brain, their memory, their mind to behave in a certain way for over a long period of time. And I knew when I was going through those periods, there were times I'll wake up 4 times in the middle of the night because I was having wet dreams. And what happens is that the body is now reacting to the lifestyle. Why I'm saying no, I'll be dreaming of different women I've had sex with. All kinds of women. Different kind of women I've fantasized to. They'll be playing over. I'll be saying, Lord, I thought I'm born again. This is actually hell. I don't know how you can be born again and this will not be like this. So
Sorry, Elijah. Let me cut you a bit. Yeah. I would like to cut you a bit. Sorry. Okay. You guys don't get distracted because the truth of the matter is that when God wants to do something, the devil will always be dancing on unnecessary dance around, right? There's somebody here saying rubbish.
Or you can do restrict comments till later. I want to do questions.
I've actually blocked him, but I will restrict the comments.
Because restrict comments. Let's focus here.
Okay, done. And it's better that I seeing your face better now.
So for me, where do I stop? So for me, you know, in the place of looking for a recovery, because how do I say this? The challenge is that God can do different things with different people, but I had to go through those steps. You know, wet dreams for me was something that I struggle with, but now I understand it because the body has been used to a certain way. The memory of the women I've stored away since I was 12. Of course, I've trained the body to masturbate, sex over a period of time. The moment I said no, the body is just going on autopilot, recall, anytime I'm sleeping, it's just playing all those memory back. So I'll just be having ejaculation. I'll wake up in the night, I'll be crying myself, wow, man, what kind of life is this? Then I was so scared to even close my eyes because I felt if I close my eyes, I'll be seeing women. So I might as well just open my eyes. Sometimes I wake up and say, wow, I've just slept. So that was the journey. And in all this process, I was someone that was used to constantly masturbating. I can't sleep without masturbating. Now, I remember the first night I slept without masturbating. Oh my days, I was jumping. My roommate was thinking, are you okay? I said, you don't understand. And then he was laughing at me. But I understand. I understand that 14 years, waking up, not touching myself, boy, to me. So to me, the recovery wasn't a big bang. It was a little win. It's like I'm building up the momentum, staying close. Sometimes I will lock myself up in the room. I didn't know that time. I'll just be studying the word. I will pray. But the most important thing I never knew that time was that I was constantly telling myself, I'm not going back. I never knew because it's like a battle. I will lock myself. My brother will be telling me, you are shouting. I'll say to myself, I'm not watching porn today. I'm not masturbating today. Because it's like my body wants to do it, but it's like I'm saying no. And that's why I say to people that this journey of recovery required a lot of price. The price of determination, the price of patience, the price of, oh, I pray, I didn't see result. Who cares? You stay with it. I don't know why Holy Spirit helped me that time. Holy Spirit, remember, 13 years it took you. Not, how did you use the time? I say, of course, I've done it for 13 years. When I'm getting frustrated, I'll say, of course, I've done it for 13 years. Of course. I don't know why, but I knew it was inspiration was giving me. It was like an encouragement. And those are the things I give to people. I remember, you've done it for 5 years. You've done it for 8 years. Because you miss it in 1 day. Because you relapse in 2 days. Or because you relapse after 1 year. Does not mean you're bad. No, you are building up yourself. You are building up your spiritual man. You are reprogramming your body. You are changing your mindset. You are reprogramming your thought. You are changing your imagination. You are now changing your environment. It's like a 360-degree change. It's a step-by-step journey that I went through. And glory to God, I said to somebody, it's impossible for you not to come across sexual content on the internet, but I've never masturbated for the last 15 years since because for me, I just believe that why would I want to bring out my private parts? Now I can't imagine it just to a woman. I don't know. I find it very, I don't know, maybe it's God. It's been interesting. And I think I spoke to you about my relationship with my wife. That one was me, in the place of doing nasty things as a young man. I said to myself, I don't want to touch a woman. I want to be a pope. I want to be a bishop. I don't want to get married. I just don't want to do anything with marriage. I said to myself, the last thing I want to do on this earth is to touch a woman. And I remember my mentor saying to me that time, he said, marriage is actually the path of recovery. Is your path of therapy that you need to actually cross that bridge. I was like, what? And then my mind got open to, okay, let me be dating. But I got married. I never knew there's going to be another wahala. Meaning, I got married and I wasn't interested in sex because I shut my mind off. So my wife was thinking, what's wrong with this guy? We're not having sex. He's always giving excuses. He's tired. I always give excuses to my missus why I don't want sex. Because my mind wasn't there. It was over time I realized that because of my previous lifestyle, I shut that area off. And it was not impacting my marriage. To the point that after I say, you know what? How do I go back? And again, God is so humorous. I now began to use the tool I was using before. I said to people that sexual fantasy is a gift from God. But it's a gift you should use for your spouse, meaning you can fantasize about your spouse. You can build up different images of your spouse. It's fantasy. God did not give you imagination. It's not the devil. But you cannot use it for dangerous things because the mind, your imagination cannot differentiate between good and bad. So I began to use my imagination because I've used it for 14 years. I began to use it. Okay, I love my wife. This is what I would do to my wife. Imagination, I would then begin to use it. And that helped me to navigate those periods in my life. So it's been, I always say I don't wish it on my enemy, but I think that's my story in a nutshell.
Wow. This is your story. It takes plenty power to come out and say this kind of thing. I mean, in the comment section, some people were saying that you should turn off your camera, let nobody see your face as they are sharing your story. You know, it takes somebody that has been through something and is ready to use that knowledge to help other people to do what you are doing right now. But there are a few things I picked out from your story. From the very beginning, like you said, your parents or your mom had a hand, unconsciously though, right? You didn't have a relationship with your mother. You couldn't have conversations around what you were feeling with your mom. Aside from the fact that she was already comparing you to your siblings, right? A lot of people don't know the words you speak to your children are very important. The relationship you build with your children are very important. I mean, your children should be able to come home and tell you anything. Imagine if you had a better relationship with your mother. Imagine if you didn't feel like this, like the rejected stone, like the castaway, and then somebody showed you a pornographic picture. You would have run home and said, Mommy, see what I saw. Is this what I'm supposed to be looking at? That also brings me to say to our audience today that we are bringing a sex educator on board to come and teach us how to have these conversations with our children. Because a lot of people are in denial. A lot of people think that their children are too young, nothing is happening. But they don't know they're going to school, they're going to church, they're going to family houses, they're going for holiday, they're going for visitations, and they're meeting with these other people, right? We will train our own finish, and we don't know who they meet out there. So we need to also know how to have this conversation. So we're bringing a sex educator 2 weeks down the line to come and help us, teach us how to have this conversation. So back to your story, knowing fully well that if you had a better relationship.
Sorry, can I say something? And I think it's just for the audience, and I think it's very important. I always say this to parents that we live in a terrain now where the kind of content I was exposed to and the kind of content now is gone beyond 1 million exponential rates. That's it.
Was just play.
Yes, sir. The first content I came across, and because even when parents are having that discussion, it takes wisdom, because a first time because you can say the probability of a child seeing heterosexual sex on the internet now is probably going to be 1% because of the nastiness of what is on the internet.
Yeah.
So it's a big field. I always say the first rule: whoever enters the mind of a child first takes over the man's child. If you can have a child, send them to the best school, and you're not controlling their mind, because they're just there in your house, somebody else. So it's a very fascinating environment for the children and parents.
Okay, and then you also let us know that it's built up, this addiction, this lifestyle build up over a period of time. So your taste buds kept changing. Probably you liked curry today, by tomorrow you are liking white Maggi, by next tomorrow, your taste bud kept changing, right? And you always needed to find something to satisfy it. So that was also consuming your time, consuming your money, consuming your intellect. So the time you're supposed to be using your mind to create, maybe you would have, probably by now, you would have created the next better Ferrari in the world, right? But you spent your time and your mind looking for what to satisfy your urge. Right? So there are a lot of people right here, right? Yes, they've heard how you were invited to church, even after your near death experience, you woke up and you went straight. I should give you thumbs up. You went straight.
I think it's just good. I just think it's good.
But Elisha, so You didn't go and ask the guy what he gave you.
I never did, sir. I did. Why would I go back? Because I think the the state of mind then, Pastor, is not. It's more of you are now feeding the beast, the urge. You live for the urge. It's like a man taking cocaine. You know when you say cocaine addict, a drug addict, you are living to feed the beast. You can't just. I will promise myself, okay, I'm on my way back from home now because I schooled outside of London. I'll say to myself, I'm going home to rest, and I'll be on the train, and the urge will just take over, and I'll stop, come off, go to Soho Square, and I'll be in the Soho Square from 2 o'clock to like 12 midnight. So meaning I'm already tired and shattered for the next day college. I'll miss the college. I say, you know what? So it takes over. That's why people that go through the process, you have to change over. It's a 360 change your entire lifestyle.
So for something that started as fun, something that started as you're just catching fun, until it totally consumed you.
Yeah.
And now you are now living to satisfy that urge. So everything, your money, your time, your intellect was going into satisfying that urge. Okay. And
that's what happens when you look at. I always say there are 3 kinds of men. The first category of men are people that like consuming the content. They don't see anything wrong with it. Those kind of group, you can't do anything. It takes the grace of God to reach those kind of group of men. The second group of men are the ones that are very full of pride. Even with their addiction and with the impact of their addiction and their relationship or even their environment, they don't see any reason they should give up. The third part are the ones that are really for change. Those ones are saying, you know what, whatever it takes. So whether we like it or not, those 3 groups of people, even as a church, as an organization, is being able to filter, because there are some, just like online now, they'll just be laughing because those ones at the moment they are still in the fun phase. To them, everything is fun because I've gone through the process. I can understand. So those ones, you just believe that somewhere down the line, you hope they will not be on the road that will impact them and they will be able to come out better. That's the thing you hope. So that's the way it works.
Okay, quick. For those that are watching, if you have a question, there's a question icon. Please be typing your questions there. Elisha will be able to take them soon. So if you have a question, you see something like a question mark somewhere down there. Use it to write your question. For those in Canada, please take note. If you're in Canada, we're having our conference in Canada soon. So we're already taking volunteers. So no matter the city you are in Canada, go to the link in my bio and go and register to be a volunteer. We need volunteers in every city in Canada. So please go there and go and register to be a volunteer. If you don't yet follow Wholesome Sexuality, is our page that deals with sexual related issues, both positive and negative, married and single. Please go follow the page. You will see the WhatsApp numbers, YouTube channels. Please follow. So let's get back to Elisha. So usually, do these addictions, do they all go together? Meaning that if somebody is addicted to porn, are they likely to be addicted to masturbation? Is it always like that?
99.9%, Pastor, yes. It's impossible. It's impossible for you to watch this kind of content and not be. You have to find an outlet. It's like a married man. You have the urge, you want to touch your wife. You have the urge, you want to touch your wife. That's the way God has built us up. Is take it anyway. It's impossible because when you're watching porn, you've unleashed your fantasy. You've unleashed it. So your imagination has kicked in. You want to engage it. And your dopamine, your sexual organ, everything is now being built up. Your body needs an outlet. That's why. Why do you think people rape? They build up so much tension. They have to find an outlet. They have to find an outlet. They just have to find something else. They have to. And that's why I always advise young men, if you are struggling with this content, never go into a relationship. Don't even do it, because you are bringing your behavior and it's going to destroy that lady. I don't care what you say to me. I don't care how much holy you are. You will want to experience, because that girl is nothing than just a sexual object. Nothing else. Nothing.
That was actually the next question I was going to ask you, because some people say it doesn't affect their relationships, or some people say that they actually. So the new thing now is, I don't think it's new though, but the in thing now is I get requests or I get messages in the DM saying, but I masturbate for my husband. But I masturbate to turn my husband on, right? And I'm like, masturbation is masturbation. But maybe if they hear it from you, they'll understand where we are coming from, right? Because masturbation is self-gratification, and sex was made for communion, not for personal use, right? So I wanted to find out from you, even though you have mentioned it before, I wanted to find out from you, does masturbation affect your relationship with your spouse?
Because we don't engage in it, and I will never engage in it because of my past. My wife shared it as well, that she was engaged in it when she was single. I was engaged in it while I was single. Like you said, it is about self. The biggest thing I remember when I started having sex with my wife was that I just climb on top of my woman, have sex, and she'd be saying to me, "Babe, we're not making love." Because remember, from the age of 12, I trained myself to masturbate. So I wasn't trained in the school of satisfying a woman. I wasn't trained in the school of pleasing a woman. So my mindset, the program of my thinking is, you come on top of a woman and you have sex and you come. And the woman is thinking, what do you think you're doing? So you could see that all those lifestyle becomes my understanding of what sex is. So again, in answering your question about masturbation, the question people need to understand is this. Why in the first place are you engaging in it? Why? What are you using it for? What exactly? People will tell you, okay, we live apart. We live very far apart. Question. The moment you introduce this into your relationship, what people don't understand is the way God has created our body. The moment you start engaging those things, you are programming your mind, your brain, and you get to a point you don't need the real sex. You don't need the man. You don't need the man. You just go for toys. The man is not there. You just go for, that's why you see all kinds of toys nowadays, because they don't need a man. They've turned themselves. Pastor, we live in a world right now where it's not about the information we know. It's about people actually making a choice. If you want to do it, you bear the consequence. But if you don't want to do it also, there's a consequence to sex. Because whether we like it or not, there's two parts to sex. There's a good part and there's a bad part. The world now, because the Christian environment has shied away, and that's why Awesome Sexuality is a fantastic platform where we keep quiet. I was saying to you in our discussion, we need to have a big loudspeaker. We need to be speaking more. We need to be shouting more, because the world has a massive platform, Netflix, YouTubers, millions of people are following them, and they are telling them, anal sex is fantastic, this sex is fantastic, threesome is fantastic, swinger is fantastic, and we are saying, oh Father, come soon. Hey, Jesus, when are you coming for rapture? We can't do that. We need this kind of platform to be speaking out as well, shouting it more. We're in a battle of voices. Whether we like it or not, we are in the battle of voices. And we will just pray God will help us.
Okay, so is it possible for someone to be watching pornography but not be an addict? Is it possible for somebody to be masturbating but not be an addict?
So let me talk that word, Pastor. Then, like I said, there are 5 stages that people, every individual in this world, we go through these 5 stages before they get addicted. The first stage, I touched upon it, was everybody will be exposed, either by curiosity, through a friend, maybe they went through sexual trauma, there will be a form of exposure. That is the first stage every individual that interact with this content will go through. Stage number 1. Stage number 2 is the fun phase. Some will say to you, I've seen it before. That's why you say kids will say, Mommy, I've seen this, and they can hijack their thinking quickly and infuse what the foundation of sex is. But some will now move fun. The fun is, oh, come on, man, have you seen what I'm saying today? Wow, have you seen this? Have you seen this video? Begin to share, they begin to watch more. Now the brain is now looking for more. That is the fun phase. But that is when they start thinking of masturbating, because now, just imagine, Vera, sex, you know, I always say we need to hold this conversation. When you want to have sex, that's where your body will build up. You know, you feel horny. It's just a natural, it's God, the way God has developed mankind. Now, our brain, the power in the brain is that the brain cannot differentiate between physical sex and masturbation. It cannot. It cannot. The brain does know that the moment you are engaged in that pictorial thing, is engaging your dopamine, is engaging your sexual organ, and everything goes. So that's why people can be masturbating comfortably, and they'll tell you, I don't want to touch a woman. I don't need to touch a guy. I'm okay. It's true. Because they don't need to. They've gone through those experiences already. And the body has already given them experience. And they have ejaculation or whatever it is. That's stage 2. So between the fun phase and the what you call it, what I call the sexual phase, that's when you see people playing with masturbation. That's stage 3. Pastor, by the time you get to stage 4, you could see that it's now taking over. Gradually, they realize that they're having erection. The erection is not taking longer. It's taking over the time. They begin to say, okay, it's not bad, but it's now taking over gradually. But gradually, their brain is going through a transformation. Their brain is underlining a significant change. Even their erection that used to be quicker is now taking longer. You understand? If they're in a sexual partner, they realize that they can't have sexual commitment any longer. Those characteristics begin to show itself. By stage 5, everything is breaking down. Their body is breaking down. Erection is no longer working. They're looking for different women to explore. They don't, at this point, they don't care about the consequence of their action. That is the most dangerous part. They care less. Look at what I said. I said to you, I was admitted and I went back. They care less about the consequence of their action because they just have to satisfy the urge. Those 5 stages. So if somebody said, Elisha, I'm watching porn, and that's what people are saying now. Oh, there's what you call the ethical porn. Oh, Elisha, there's what you call the moderation. The brain cannot define what is a moderation. The brain can't define that. So that's question 1. Question number 2. Yes, Pastor, people will say masturbation. Elisha, I'm not watching porn. But there's a common denominator when it comes to masturbation. That's the engaging of the imagination. You will always have to picture something you are doing for you to unleash the sexual part of the brain. So whether you are masturbating without porn, but you always masturbate with a picture of somebody. The question is, if you're having sex with somebody in your brain, that's the fact. That is the fact. Is finding somebody that have masturbation without thinking about somebody is impossible.
Wow. Okay, so what you're saying is that if someone is watching porn now and is not yet an addict, he's just in one of the steps.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
He's just on his way. It's just like a journey. It's just like a journey. And that person, I can guarantee you 100%, the content they started with initially is not the same content they're watching now. And the hours they're spending initially is not the hours they're spending now, because now the hours is going up. They need to spend more hours. They need to look for more content. That's why the policy say, I'm using all my data. They're spending more time on the internet. You realize that this kind of people, they're spending more time alone in their toilets, more time alone in the shower. They just want to be alone because they need that time to get that erection going.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Vera.
Okay, so I know that a couple of people, or rather people that deal with these addictions, also have self-esteem issues. Is it as a result of finding their alone time, or I don't know. I want to understand why they have self-esteem issues, because I mean they're satisfying themselves already. So why is there an issue relating with people?
Okay, I'm not gonna use self-esteem. Because we have different audience. I'm gonna walk through people, because it's good to give people what they can use. as a tool. Now, every individual, the first step to recovery is to define a why. Why do I want freedom? Why do I want recovery? The why question is the foundation. Pastor probably agree with me. Why are you here? What do you need this counseling for? Because if the why of that recovery is not established, that's why I see people in the circle of relapse constantly. Because I tried recovery for about 5-7 years. I'll say to myself, today I'm not watching porn and I'm back to it. Or today. So the why for me, and let me tell you the characteristics of the why for the audience, is like you having an anchor. You know, like when you look at the vessel in the ocean and they're standing in the middle of the ocean, they've dropped an anchor. Now, the why is like an anchor. So in the midst of temptation and the urge, the why is what you pick up and you read it to yourself. I'm doing this because of this. You are reinforcing it because you want to give up, but your why is holding you. That's step number one. Step number two is the trigger. I'm not touching on self-esteem because I will touch on it and you see why. You need to understand your trigger, and your triggers are broken down into two areas. Either is internal trigger or external trigger. Now, the internal trigger is where you have the self-esteem, toxic emotion, anxiety, depression, trauma. These are internal triggers that whenever it queue up, somebody will start going towards looking for that content. You now have what I call the external trigger. This one works with your 5 senses, meaning anything that connects with your eyes, what you smell, what you see, what you can touch. The moment those things are there, you are ready to go. So I always say to people, you need to be a student of your trigger. You need to understand your trigger. Take time to understand the trigger. That's that part. Then you need to now understand what are the underlying driving factors of the trigger. What is the root cause of this trigger? What is driving this trigger? What time does this trigger occur? Why does it occur? You need to study the trigger. Now that we've looked at the negative trigger, you then ask yourself a question: what are the positive triggers I need to start building into my environment? Remember, one of the key things I said to people is this: you've programmed your brain, your memory, your environment to feed this addiction. Now you need to start asking yourself, what are the new positive triggers that can help me or nudge me to live in a positive way? That's step number 2. Now, looking at step number 3 is where many people give up, because this is where you have to determine whether you want to go with the same fantasy or you want to take over your fantasy and use it in a God way. Because this is where many struggle. They're asking themselves, Elisha, but I love fantasy. I love to fantasize about this girl. I love to fantasize about this. Now they have to make a decision, because until you take over your fantasy, forget freedom. Because that is the factory where many spend most of their time. They're imagining, they're having sex, they are doing different, all manner of things in their fantasy. That's why, Pastor, I don't know whether I know this book, Mills and Boom. My people say don't read Mills and Boom, because people are building different fantasy. You understand? They're living in a world that is unreal. That's step number 3. Step number 4, you now need to learn about your thought, because you have lived in a world where your thought comes in, dominate your thinking. You don't know what time it's coming in. You don't know what's driving that thought. You need to reprogram every of your thoughts. That's step number 4. Step number 5, you then need to start looking at your belief system. Because the biggest challenge with this journey, Pastor, is that until you start having that inner dialogue that I need to fight this battle. That's what I'm going to say. Elisha, I've been praying, I've been fasting, but there's no self. It's like God needs your partnership. That's what we say. Why is my prayer not working? Because deep down, you are not willing to do whatever it takes. That self-belief must be cultivated. Step number 6, you then need to look at your emotion, because like you said, self-esteem, all this toxic emotion, depression, fear, anxiety, you need to clean them out and start building a new positive emotion. Like I said to you during the conversation, the last one is the sex, because remember, you've got a different view of sex, wrong perspective. You then need to recalibrate your sex perspective. What is the God way of sex? And this way is like challenging because it's like what I went through as a single person. You know, you can't be touching sex. You know that for a fact. You know that. As a married person, you know that you have to go through a different way of maybe going to a school to understand how do you start pleasing a woman. Cleaning your mind is a lot of step by step. And you are building a block upon each other in a structured way. I hope that answers the question.
Wow. I agree, PK. This is not a life thing. This is a master class something where we will sit down and he will have time to dissect all these things. What he's just giving us now, guys, is just tip. Just giving us tips. It's just giving us appetizer. The main thing is going to come. So I know you have another engagement at 10. So we'll rush into the questions.
Yeah.
And let's see what we have here. Okay, I'm only going to pick questions that has to do with the topic. What advice do you have for someone who feels conviction but keeps going back?
So if Pastor K, if Pastor is okay, I can, if it's okay for you, because what I've done, Pastor, is I always do live every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And to me, I've always asked Lord, what is the best gift I can give to the community of men? Pastor, the number one thing everybody needs to understand is without a strong why foundation, forget freedom. Because that why is where you begin to tell yourself the truth. Now, Pastor, if it's okay, because on my link, it's a free something. It's a free, I always give it, it's a video series I did. But people can you can do it. It's your own time. I said to people say, Lasha, why are you doing it? Because to me, I believe that it's good to help people on their way. Just start. Just go to my link. It's just a free. It's a 3 video. It's free. It's not anything. And the first video, I'll tell Pastor, I spoke about how can a 12-year-old go to the point of killing himself. The reason why it's important for people to do this thing by themselves and define the why is that until they are ready, even God can't help you. Pastor, you know this. It's like, I've got to understand the place of God. I said to Pastor, I said, Jesus is looking at someone that is blind. And he's asking the person, what do you want? I said, Jesus, but you can see the guy is blind. Just tell him to open his eye. But he's still asking him that, what do you want? Some people tell them to stand up. But Jesus, but you see this guy is blind. What? Who is going to help him to stand up? Go and wash. But Jesus is blind. He's telling us that there's a point of key accountability. If people are not ready for, when I speak to Vera, I say, Vera, this is not for me. It's about life transformation. If people are not ready for change, this individual is more of I say to people, don't even go to the video. Don't waste your time. Don't do it because you are wasting your time. You're telling me it's not working because you are not ready for the change. I can put the link or it's on my bio. It's just start your recovery. It's free. I did it intentionally because I really want people to start thinking about freedom. Just start. Even Vera, if you say to me you're doing masterclass today, I still want everybody to do that one because it's the first step. It's not about, you can come to the masterclass, okay, Elisha is fantastic, but have you done your why? Why are you here? Why? Tell me the why. If you don't have a concrete why, you're just wasting your time, your money, your effort. So that is why it's so important, please. The why is the first thing. Anybody listening today, get a journal, get a notepad. Why am I going for recovery? Why is this so important to me? Sorry, Pastor, if I'm taking so much.
Okay, someone says, how were you able to build your sexual life with your spouse? Coming from
sexual, I think to be honest, it will require the help of my wife as well. It's a partnership here. And I think for me, I said one day, Pastor, I think after having sex one day, and let me say this, I looked at the woman, I said, did you enjoy this thing? She looked at me thinking, he did enjoy it. But, there's a way a man will feel whether a woman enjoys something or not. And she said, "You're not doing anything." I said, "What?" You know, it can affect your ego as a man. But I knew God was saying to me, "My son, you need to listen because you have a lifestyle." And that is why I said to you, Vera, when God said remain a virgin, you know this God in his wisdom. He knows when he says remain a virgin. It's not just playing. I tell people, I said I will pay you money to remain a virgin. Because the moment you start opening up this area, you have to recalibrate, rebuild up. So it's me now asking my wife, "Oh, how can I touch you? Or what can we do?" You know, it's like I have to swallow my ego. You have to swallow it. I say, okay. Some men will like, "Oh, I'm not good enough." To me, I'm like, okay, Lord, because how do I do this? Okay, what do you think? What should we do? How do we go about this? So it's not a quick, it's no single answer. It's a conversation, asking questions. It's not about, "Oh, I will give, what works for me might not work for some people."
Yes.
And Pastor, you're a relationship expert, guru. I mean, you understand this. So is the key thing is the man not having an ego. I think that's the first thing. Throw your ego away, or your woman, and say, "Look, okay, what do we do?" Having that open conversation and being honest. You know, Bible said they are both naked, and just, okay, we want to enjoy this thing. So what do we do? You know, this is where you come in viral. So and this is where I hand over the baton.
You know, so we've talked about it. We've had a live on it. Sexual compatibility does not exist, right? And we talked about the 3 C's of compatibility: commitment, communication, and then compromise. People don't want to talk, but you have to talk. You have to talk before, you will talk during, then you will do appraisal after. Like you said, you asked her, "How was it?" That she's like, "Okay, I didn't do anything."
I'm still asking.
Yeah,
Because she might be listening tonight, so I'm still asking.
For men.
It has to keep getting better. It has to keep getting better. And one thing I've actually gotten from your story is that it's a process. It didn't take 13, it took 13 years to build. It wouldn't take 13 minutes. It wouldn't take one.
I tell I know marketing is good. I tell people, if you're looking for 21 days quick fix, I won't take your money. They will give you where you can go because it's not going to help you. Yeah. If somebody wants your money, it's not going to. It's not. This is not 21 days. It's not. I mean, Pastor, you're a guru in counseling. If somebody is going to divorce, 7 days, it's not going to fix it.
Yeah.
Okay, someone is asking, how do you help a spouse who masturbates? And that's like 3/4 of the question in the question icon. People are asking, how do you help a spouse? How do you help a relative who masturbates?
That question is very generic. You know, say if somebody that masturbates, you need to understand that somebody can masturbate because they're going through a trauma. You know that.
No, but in this case, Elisha, I think the person is talking about their spouse now. That their spouse masturbates.
A guy, okay, good. Pastor, let's just assume it's a guy. Yeah?
Okay.
I mean, can I assume that the person is a guy? Pastor, if the man that masturbates, see, Pastor, when it comes to spouse, it's very, anytime I'm in this space, it's very painful because it's easier for you to work with singles than spouse because the action of the man is not affecting the woman. And because of it is very painful. Let me just start it that way. Because number one, I said it to you, if the man doesn't see anything wrong, the woman can help him. That is the biggest. If the man doesn't see any, if the wife is saying, "I don't like you masturbating," and the man doesn't see anything wrong, you can't help. It takes the grace of, you can't help that man. Unfortunately for this woman, the woman has to just keep believing God for a change. You understand? Now, if it's a man that believes he needs a change, please understand, your wife is not your accountability partner. Pastor, let me say this. Because the woman is going through a lot of shock. The woman is going through a lot of shock as to, my man is masturbating to a woman that is totally different from me. That alone shatters a woman's confidence. That you are masturbating to a woman that is totally different from me. So that woman is already confused. That means we're just together. You're not in love or you whatever. So the woman is going through a lot of trauma. So this man needs to get his own support and support that can help him, and for the wife also to get a support is so important, because the wife is going through trauma, whether you like it or not. Two of them needs to be on a support program. That is why when it comes to spouse, it's very painful, and that's why I always speak to the young guys, the bachelor. Whatever you are doing now, fix it, because when you come into a home, you will destroy that woman. If there's a children involved, this thing is and this is why the self, nowadays we live in the world of self pleasure, do it yourself. You don't have to, this is how to answer that question. Hopefully, it's difficult to.
Yes, you actually did, and you actually answered another question, right? From your answer, you actually answered another question. There was someone else was asking that aside from how do you help a spouse, how do you have to help a spouse? Somebody else asked that should you stop masturbation and pornography before you get married? You just answered it at the tail end of your answer, right? So this person is asking, do sex toys affect your sex life?
I don't know. I think Pastor can answer that one.
They're all related, and just for the person still asking that, should you stop masturbation and pornography before you marry? That's why we're having this whole IG life. We're looking at the impact of masturbation and pornography in your life and in your marriage. So just like Elisha has been saying, if you are married, it's way more complicated because that person must be ready to cooperate. It's more difficult for two people to be seeking help at the same time. It's better when you're single, you deal with these things. And if you're already married to somebody that is addicted, try to get them to go and get help. And I know it's difficult because most times the person doesn't want to even own up, doesn't want to agree there's a problem. The ego is hot. So you need to also pray so that God will touch their hearts. If you have people that you guys can talk to, that both of you respect, that could help. But it's generally a tough journey. Just like Elisha said, I have handled a few of those cases, and it's a tough journey because usually one person is not cooperative. It's not cooperative at all. So yeah. So this question, do sex toys affect your sex life? Sex toys is still part of the pornography and masturbation scenario. So, excuse me, so definitely it will affect your sex life. Any artificial stimulation will affect the original stimulation.
Yeah.
So that's how it works. Once there is an artificial one, that person or thing is like a third party. So it is going to affect your own sex life. So,
Pastor,
go ahead.
Pastor, please. When you say sex toy, Pastor, that sex toy is broad. There's some sex
Very
toy.
broad.
Please. When people say sex toy, Pastor, I remember one time we were having a discussion at Clubhouse, and I have to put Pastor, some sex toys are human beings. So people can use, some sort of dolls, machine, like jack machine, people should, when they use that word toys, they kind of use it to wrap many things.
Yes. Yes, that's very true.
Anything that is not the human being, like Pastor K has said, anything, the artificial will definitely affect the original, right? The question keeps coming up, can I use a toy if my husband is not around? Can I use a toy with my husband? The prominent one is, can I use a toy with my husband? What if it's my husband that is using the toy on me? The day the husband is not around, you will use the toy because the urge will come. You will use the toy on yourself, which is the masturbation we are talking about in the first place. Which is the masturbation we're talking about in the first place.
It is always a downward spiral. It usually starts innocently, looks innocent, until it takes hold of
Looks like
yourself.
you're pleasing your spouse. Shebi, they say we should please our spouse. It looks like we're pleasing the spouse, and then it becomes fun until it takes over totally. I tell people that it's more degrading to cheat on your spouse with an inanimate object than a human being. You know, it's more degrading. You are degrading your spouse to the level of plastic, silicone, you know, and stuff like that. A lot of people do it, but does it make it right? No, it doesn't make it right. Papa, we need to let Elijah go.
You have to go cut my voice. Most of those people don't even tell you the truth. They don't tell you the challenges when it starts. They only paint the picture of the fun part. Challenges will always come, but they don't tell you that part.
No, they don't.
When they are no more getting aroused, when they need more toys, just like Elijah said, you will keep needing more. It's an endless journey. It's an endless journey.
Okay, I want to turn on the comment section again so that people can appreciate you. Yes, for sharing it. You came and you didn't hold back like our lives always are. Everybody we bring here always brings their 100. You know, they always come up and they share, and it's always enlightening and informative. It's been a very interesting session with you. Papa, thank you very much. I missed the cough and all whatnot. You still gave us. You still gave us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Elijah.
For those that are watching, we're still going to do a proper work with Elisha, so that people that are facing the addiction will do a proper training and all that with you, a masterclass with you, so that it will be more in-depth, more personal. We'll let you know when that can hold.
Pastor,
but I think it's very...
Pastor has put me on the spot.
Yes, you cannot say no again now. You are here. Just say yes. That's all.
It's very necessary. Now, please follow Elisha, follow Wholesome Sexuality. Those in Canada, go and register to be volunteers for our event coming up very soon.
Yeah. We also have a lineup of events coming up here on No Social Sexuality. You guys show PK some love so that he can go and sleep. Show PK some love. Thank you so much, PK. Thank you so much, Papa. We are really grateful. Thank you, Elisha. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for being open. It's been amazing. We love you. I will tag you on this video so that people can, you know, follow you and see what you also have up. Right. Thank you so much. I don't want to keep you so that you can go for your other engagement. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. See, they are all there. They're showing love. They're showing love. They're showing love. Thank you very much. Good night, Elisha. Good night.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. We have a couple of lives coming up, a couple of more engagements coming up. Sex education is coming up on the 18th. We'll start posting it very soon. Sex education is coming up on the 18th because some of us, we have children. And like you heard his story, it started at the age of 12, right? Some parents are still living in denial that at the age of 7, at the age of 10, their children are not aware of what's happening. You will be shocked. And like he said, the first person that gets to the mind of the child takes hold of that child's mind. So we're going to be bringing up a sex educator that specializes in having this conversation age appropriately. Because the fear of some parents is they don't know how to say it. Like some of us, we were told, like you heard Elisha, his mother told him, just don't don't get anybody pregnant, right? Some of us were told the moment you see your menstrual flow, you touch a man, you get pregnant. So now we are coming out to tell you the appropriate way, age-appropriate way to have these conversations with your children, coming up on the 18th of September, right? just so you know, we're still here. Counseling is still on. You can click on the link in bio. Follow us on all platforms. Videos come out on YouTube every Friday. Educative videos, informative video, and a touch of fun, a touch of laughter in the videos. Go to our YouTube channel on Wholesome Sexuality. Follow, subscribe, like, share, engage. Let's have a conversation. Let's know what's going through your mind. Let's know what you want to talk about. Let's know what you want to talk about. Yes, I'm going to tag Elisha on this video, so you can also follow him and see what's up on his page. So for those that say the children would have gone back to school, well, the children are still your children, right? There's still time to have that conversation with them. There's time to have that conversation with them. So PK said, if you're in Canada, LDM is coming to you. So click on the link in his bio to register as a volunteer. Click on the link in Pastor Kingsley's bio to register as a volunteer. If you are in Canada, not that you're in Nigeria and want to go to Canada. No, if you are already in Canada, cities in Canada, wherever you are in Canada, please click on the link in Pastor Kingsley's bio to register as a volunteer. Thank you, UK, for hosting. Thank you. It was an amazing conference. We love you, UK. And like the Bible says, the glory of the latter house shall always surpass that of the former. Canada, the yam and the knife is in your hands. Cut as you will. All right, guys. Till we come your way again. Oh, yes. We have one more. There's a YouTube there's a YouTube live, there's a YouTube webinar coming up. I'll be posting the flyer very soon. It's coming up on the 11th. It's about, okay, so Wholesome Sexuality will be talking about igniting the fire in a sexless marriage. Igniting the fire in a sexless marriage. I will put up the flyer very soon. We're going to be having fun with Ensure Your Marriage. Ensure Your Marriage is the name of the platform where I'll be speaking on Sunday, 9 p.m. I'll show you my family guys. I'm going to share with you guys, and I'll let you know how you could register to be a part of that. It's titled Igniting the Fire in a Sexless Marriage. Praise God. Till I come your way again, thank you for always showing up. Share, like, subscribe, connect, follow, share. We've got the testimonies of people who shared our YouTube videos, like the video we put up about what do you call it? Wedding nights, right? How to prepare for your wedding night. The video that was up on how to prepare for your wedding night. Somebody shared that. She shared that video with a friend of hers that was getting married, and the testimony that has been coming in is beautiful, is amazing. So if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, you are wrong. If you're not following us on every social media platform, you are wrong. All right, guys. Tomorrow is Monday. Work, play, spread the gospel of sex. Sex is good. Sex is God. Sex is God's idea. Good night. Good night, everybody. Good night. 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 Good night.